What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. That's right, and today we are going to be talking about some pretty crazy stories and things that are going on in the prison system when it comes to transgenders. That's right. I love this freaking mug. I've been washing it every day and using it every single day, as well as my little buddy Alien over here. I love him. Lucy hates it. Love him, though. Love him. He replaced Baby Groot. Now, today we just so happen to be talking about something. I've told stories about certain things that happen in prison with people that, not always transgender, but, they happen to swing that way, Oh, death don't swing that way, okay? I don't, but I'm not here to put anybody down that does. As a matter of fact, a lot of individuals I've met in prison and on the streets that happen to go that sexual route, they tend to be some of the nicest and kind-hearted individuals I've ever met. So what really happens to transgenders in prison? Look, I've seen probably about 4 or 5 transgenders in prison where they were going through surgeries and stuff, and the first time I've ever seen anything like this was in Chesapeake City Jail. I was 18 years old, fresh on the scene, and I haven't really seen anything in life. I'm fresh out of high school, and this now I'm 32, so, this transgender stuff, and it's a lot more open. But back then, when I was 18, it wasn't really, it was accepted in a way, but it wasn't super out there in the open like it is nowadays. So when I was in jail and I saw the first transgender guy I seen, I was a little shocked, because this dude was like 6'1", and he had full-fledged breasts. And they weren't just, they were huge breasts, okay? So, it was a little bit of a learning experience for me. I just didn't know that they would put individuals like that had breasts and stuff into general population, but they do. And I don't know how it is in Cali from some of the people that I've heard, like over there on the West Coast, prisons, they give them their own blocks and stuff like that. I don't know. Over here in Virginia, when I did my time, transgenders and homosexuals, they roam the pods, the blocks, and the prison yards just like any other inmate, and that's what it was. And when I was in jail for the first time seeing that, no one really messed with that individual at all. No one picked up. Well, the dude was big as hell, okay? He was like 6'1", 6'2". Dude was huge, and he wasn't like slim or slender. This dude was he was a little scary looking, you know what I mean? Even though he had breasts and stuff, he definitely looked like a man, and he was a little scary looking. I ain't gonna lie, boy. But moving forward into the prison system, being locked up for quite a bit of time, I started seeing individuals like that on a regular basis, especially in prison. Now, what happens to these kind of guys in prison? Do they get beat up and joked and picked on? No, I wouldn't say that's the case. I'm sure in some prisons and stuff like that, people do pick on them and physically attack them, but the prisons I was in and the way that I seen stuff happen, there were, more harassment happened, harassment, catcalling and stuff like that. I'll never forget prison that I was in, Powhatan. There was these 2 huge buildings. It was the first prison I went to that had, 3-floor tiers, okay? It looked like freaking Shawshank Redemption. It was 3-floor tiers, and they had 200 cells in one block. It was insane. 2-man cells. And it would be outside, it would be 2 buildings like this, 2 huge tall buildings, and you would look out your windows and there would be, a yard right there, okay? A yard, and there would be like a little weight workout thing that people could work on, a machine, and you would see people walking all the time back and forth. And sometimes when we were on lockdown, all you would do is sit there and stare out the window, smoke your cigarettes and stuff. And every once in a while, you would see a transgender walking with either their boyfriend, husband, or a clique of other transgenders or homosexuals. And it was absolutely insane, man. The catcalling was ridiculous. Every time they came around, you would hear people from every freaking window like, it sounded like a tribe of freaking Indians hollering at them. And then you would see, sometimes, look, man, sometimes you would see the transgenders and stuff that would walk past, then all of a sudden they'll just start either dancing or twirling like they're on a freaking runway while everyone's catcalling and saying crazy stuff. And every once in a while you'll hear someone say some derogatory words and stuff like that, and then they'll start, the gay dude will start yelling and arguing with the individual from window 3 floors up and stuff like that, trying to figure out who's saying what and just talking trash back and forth. But for the most part, I mean, the catcalling it wasn't really, the people weren't really trying to like hit on them by catcalling. It was more along the lines of entertainment and comedic. You know what I mean? People were just clowning around. But the next prison I went to, stuff like that went out the window, and Greensville, the relationships with individuals became a little more serious. I'm talking about like full-fledged husband and wife type of scenarios where they would be cooking and cleaning for them, washing their clothes, and having a real relationship with these individuals. You know what I mean? They would be housed in the same cell, and if they weren't, they were in the same block, and they would spend every minute together. And I've seen fights, hot baby oil be thrown on people behind relationships and stuff like that. You would see crazy things happen, especially when, let's say, there's one transgender in the block, okay? And the next one would come in, like a few months down the road, and it would start strife because there's competition in the block now. And then that one transgender might see their man looking at the new one that came in the block in a kind of a seductive way, and that would start a whole bunch of drama and controversy in the block within these type of relationships. I've seen that so many times. But I'll never forget this one situation, man. I remember one time this guy that we played cards with, okay, we played rummy. We played rummy all the time with this guy, and he was a younger guy. He wasn't gang affiliated or anything. He was just a younger guy, tiny dude. He was like 5'5", real tiny dude. But he had a cell with another cellmate, and the cellmate left. So he was in the cell by himself for like a good 3 or 4 days. So the next person that comes in was a transgender. All right, I'm like, oh God, they're going in homeboy's cell. So long story short, the dude came down the next day, and everybody's making wise jokes like, how was your night last night, bro? Everything, just cracking jokes. They didn't really think anything happened, and just making fun of him. And dude's like, nah, man, stop playing with me like that. Stop playing with me like that. But he was the type of guy that we could play with like that and not worry about him really taking it to heart. So a few weeks go by, maybe longer, and I'm on the top tier, about to go to the yard. I'm eating a honey bun. And the straight dude that's in the cell, he's sitting right there talking to me and someone else, and he's talking about like, man, I got to get up out the cell. And then the transgender that was in his cell as well just so happened to be right in the proximity and heard him say that. And I ain't never forget it, boy. He said, you weren't saying that last night. I'm looking at him like, bro, what the hell does that mean? You know what I mean? I didn't say that, but me and the homeboy had the old face looking at each other like, put him out there on Jump Street. And this is type of stuff that really happens in prison, okay? There's inmates that will literally mess around with these type of individuals and think it will be on a hush-hush the rest of their life. I'm telling you, these dudes, these transgenders are just like women. You think you can go your whole life doing certain things and stuff not happening to come to light. Well, think again, So dude put his business out there on Jump Street for me and homeboy to hear. But dude was playing it off like, man, stop playing with me, man. Stop playing with, just like he did with us the first, few days that we were clowning him a little bit. He did the same kind of thing to the transgender that said that. So as time went by, dude kept putting his business out there on Jump Street without, really saying it. And I'll never forget it. Me and my homeboy, we had this thing. One time I was at the table and the gay dude said something about bringing sausage down and to the homeboy, and me and him from top, we had this thing called the O face. We would make the O face to each other all the time. Every time dude would make some kind of subliminal message saying that, they're sleeping around with each other. We would like, do the double take with the O face. And one time he was cooking at the microwave, said something crazy, and he said it out loud, really loud. And I made the O face, and I was looking for my homeboy to do the O face with me. He was at top tier, already looking at me like, I knew you heard it, boy. That's my dog up there, boy. He hit me with the O face, you know what I mean? So it was funny as hell, and to this day, no one really knows you know, if he really was or not. I got written out the block, as a matter of fact. I'll never forget that. For some reason, they told me to pack my bags, and I left. I don't know if someone wrote me out the block or it was because I was just tattooing too much. I got too many tattooing charges. I always guessed I was tattooing charges, you know, and they had to get me out of there because I was tattooing quite a bit of people in there. But at the same time, I still really don't know to this day, you know, what the hell I got moved out that block for. And I actually owed a couple things out. You know what I mean? I actually owed a couple things out, and I tried my best to get to the individuals and tell them, look, it wasn't nothing I did. You know what I mean? And that's another topic, man. People can get moved out the block and they still owe a couple things out that they borrowed. And, you know, it's not necessarily, you know, checking in because you owe a debt, because it's not really like no large debts. It's only like a few honey buns or a pack of cigarettes, something like that. Well, not cigarettes no more, but little things. You know, most people, when they check out for debts, it's usually because it's like $300 debts, stuff like that they can never pay back. But yeah, that's another video for another day. Anyways, let's talk about something else that I've seen go on in the penitentiary, boy. You know, guys will, you know, it's funny to see how dudes act when a transgender comes into a prison block. Okay, it's kind of just like on the streets. You know how guys, a lot of y'all guys know what I'm talking about when, let's say, just a nurse or a nurse comes into the block. They start acting different, try to pose and flex a little bit, or they might just walk down to the shower with their shirt off just to kind of stunt in front of the nurse, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Well, it goes the same. You'll see the same kind of guys on the street do the same type of stuff, you know what I mean? They'll try to show out a little bit in front of the girls out here in the streets. Well, just like in prison, when transgender comes into the block, you'll see dudes acting different. You'll see certain dudes act different, kind of showboating and stunting a little bit, trying to act a little more gangster or a little more cooler than normal. Or individuals will go to the shower in front of the gay dude, and they ain't never taken showers at that time of the day ever in their life, but they're doing it. You can tell they're simply doing it because the gay dude's right there in front of the showers playing cards or something, and you can just see this stuff. You know what I mean? It's crazy that there's a lot of individuals that are undercover, I guess you could say. You know, they won't never end up doing nothing with them, but you can tell that they're doing certain things to try to impress this gay individual that came into the block. It always blew my mind. Always blew my mind. But for the most part, do gay dudes where I came from, do they get beat up, you know, stuff like that? Are they victims? No, they're not so much victims, but I'll tell you this, they tend to find a man within the block and stick to that man, and that man is their protection. For real, that's their man, their husband, and that dude will protect them, you know, no matter what. Any kind of situation they got going on, you know, the husband in the relationship will go and straighten anything out. And I've seen fights break out over that stuff on a regular basis before too. But like I said, as far as, you know, them actually just getting hurt for no reason, even if they don't have a man, it doesn't really happen. Not in the places I've seen. It's just more of along the lines of harassment. You know, there are prisons where they are sexually taken advantage of. I know that's probably happened in plenty of the prisons I've been in. I just didn't see it or hear of it. At the same time, I mean, you're in prison. And guys that have life sentences, they have no, like I said before in my previous videos, they have no shame in their game. They will wife up, you know, a transgender very quickly. You know, and they have life. You know, that is their life, and they have no shame in their game. Some of those dudes are never going to see a woman again, so that's as close as they're going to ever get to seeing or being with a woman besides the correctional officers that walk through, you know. So, I mean, it is what it is. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this shed some light for some people out there that might be facing situations like this. And do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you did, and check out the links in the description of the video. Add me up on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Go check out my Teespring page with all the Lockdown 23-in-1 merchandise. Subscribe to my wife's channel, The Compound 24/7. She's starting to do some wild and crazy interviews as well. And as always, I salute to every last one of you who've been supporting me since the beginning, and everyone who's just now joining the Lockdown Compound. Y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.